So, dear friends, we are celebrating the fourth Sunday after Easter. It's a very special Sunday because it has got a meaningful theme for this Sunday, what we call the Good Shepherd Sunday. Perhaps the Easter season, as I have said earlier, is a season wherein Jesus goes in search of his disciples. And the Good Shepherd Sunday is an occasion for us to celebrate that we don't go in search of Jesus, but he comes in search of us. He comes in search of his disciples, of his flock, as it were. And so the important message of this Sunday is given in the Gospel, John chapter 10, verse 11 to 18. I am the Good Shepherd. Enough. This one phrase is enough for us to summarize the whole of the Easter season, that Jesus comes in search of us. I am the Good Shepherd, says Jesus, and the Good Shepherd lays down his life. There are four qualities of this shepherd or shepherding characteristics which are good, or the bad shepherd, which are bad, as it were, which give us an inkling of how Jesus goes in search of the flock that is losing, that is straying, that is lost. First of all, as I said, the characteristic of the Good Shepherd is to sacrifice his own life for his sheep. He does not mind that something happens to him, that he is not the most comfortable. He is not in a situation to get every comfort in his life, but then he has his ears, he has his eyes open in order to see where his sheep are. Perhaps you may have seen flocks of sheep being taken out for grazing by the shepherds. Israel, it's a beautiful scenery. You have miles and miles of these open areas with little grass. And you see as the tourists go from one town to the other, we see that the shepherds, even of today, they are taking the sheep for grazing. And the shepherd has such a sort of a relationship with the sheep that they follow him thoroughly to the places that he takes them. And so Jesus, saying that this is a good shepherd in the sense he can be trusted. The people trust him to take their sheep out, and they know that he will protect their sheep, he will take care of their sheep, the sick and the straying, and in a very difficult situations he will even risk his life. That's the first quality of the Good Shepherd. Secondly, Jesus, perhaps in order to contrast between what's a good shepherd and who is not a good shepherd, speaks also about hired shepherds. Sometimes it might happen that the normal shepherd, the usual shepherd, is not in action, he is not well, or perhaps he doesn't want to go, and therefore sometimes they have to take substitutes as shepherds. And these substitutes, if they are not good, they will feed on the sheep. Literally, they will feed on the sheep. They will abandon the sheep. They will also not take care of them. In the end, not only the sheep are lost, even the people who trusted them with their sheep also will be disappointed. And therefore, it's an inclination to say that we perhaps in our society, if we categorize our leadership as good shepherds and bad shepherds, the bad leaders could be called also the bad shepherds that abandon the people, that do not have the interest of the sheep or the people in their mind at the foremost, as it were. Thirdly, the Good Shepherd knows his sheep, and the sheep know him. It's a beautiful thing. The animals, we say they are devoid of certain senses. They cannot speak. Perhaps they cannot see. Maybe I do not know. They cannot hear. But then they can recognize the good sheep, the Good Shepherd, by his voice perhaps. And so it's enough that the sheep are used to the voice or the calling of the sheep of the shepherd in order to follow him. And the shepherd also knows the sheep. So this relationship or this bonding between the shepherd and the sheep is very important. On it lies, as it were, the whole of the gospel message that our good shepherd is the one who trusts us, and in whom we can also place our trust. You have to see sometimes the parents bringing up the children. And good parents just don't go after their children, nagging them at every time. Good teachers don't go after the children. You sit down, you get up, you do this. Perhaps also some leaders, perhaps we don't have to say. Once this trust is built between these two persons, it's enough. Perhaps even we have to say that we may not need to express ourselves, but then a certain bonding has already taken place and the language is not so important. When you see certain old couples, they have lived their life 50 years, 60 years, and there comes a moment in their life they don't even have to speak. They understand each other's silence. Sometimes even perhaps a little monosyllable is enough. The wife knows what the husband wants or perhaps what he's in need of. The husband knows his wife so perfectly well that he doesn't have to say or to talk or give a great lecture. This is the type of trust building that takes place between the shepherd and the sheep, between our shepherd, Jesus Christ the Lord, and ourselves. Finally, a shepherd is the one who takes all the sheep together. So therefore the shepherd's another quality is to have or rather form unity among the sheep that he leads. So therefore the shepherd is the sign and symbol of unity. A leader is sign and symbol of unity. A leader who breaks up a group, who perhaps tries to make a lot of divisions among themselves, the people, is not a good leader. So therefore, the characteristic of a shepherd is also to bring them together, lead them together, to unite them together as one flock and one shepherd. I repeat once again, perhaps, I am the good shepherd, says the Lord. And Jesus gives us the characteristics of the good shepherd, that is, leaving or rather surrendering his life for the sake of the sheep. Secondly, contrasting with the bad shepherd is the one who abandons the sheep. It is not bothered about them. Perhaps we have among us also examples of bad shepherds who have not been very much considerate to the people, to the sheep, to the people, and trusted to them. And thirdly, the relationship between the shepherd and the sheep, which is very important, and a relationship of trust, a relationship of care and concern, which is a bonding, as it were. And it's enough that this trust builds, or rather gives us an occasion in order to confide in each other, at the same time be confident that the works that have been entrusted will be taken care of. Finally, the shepherd, the good shepherd, is a sign of and symbol of unity, of oneness, one shepherd and one flock. My dear brothers and sisters, perhaps it's a Sunday that reminds us that surely we should ask the Lord for help and support, but more than anything else, because of this trust bonding, remember the steps, or rather what we call the glances of the shepherd towards you in your life. Our shepherd comes in search of us even before we can go in search of him.